Right, guys, welcome to the latest episode of Muscle Out Talks. This is just a little extra episode we thought we'd do. Zoe was on a train last week, so, we're going to talk about that. In fact, we thought we'd talk about train travel in general. Just really brief episode, possibly something we can expand on at a later date. In fact, Michaela, what were you saying before we started? Have you ever been on a TransLink train? TransLink, nothing to do with trams. Go on then. What was it before we got onto the topic? What was your story about a TransLink train?
No, I don't have a story about the TransLink. That's why I wanted to know.
Whoa! Why do you want to know about it?
Because I've never done it. I've always wanted to do Belfast to Dublin on the TransLink, but I've never.
And that's for Sarah.
TransLink.
Have you ever been on the TransLink train?
I've never gone to Dublin. I've only gone to Belfast and.
I'm going to Belfast, isn't it? It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it is. I haven't done all the stops, obviously, but I would get
all the stops. You're making it sound like the Siberian Express. You can't bang it to Belfast.
That's quite a lot.
You've been very surprised.
Oh, yeah, I had a bunker 1 year, What were the beds like? Come on.
Yeah, no, the only real way I have near me is the freaking starting. I don't even know what you're freaking having for that.
There's three.
Talking about TransLink's train. She's swearing. She'd be real loud. Right, okay. I'm starting to think that you got paid underhand by TransLink. mention the TransLink Express.
If only they would have a far better service, believe me. But yeah.
Well, in fact, this links on quite well to Zoe. You had an experience with the train in the week that you booked first class because you thought you were better than everyone else, and you realised that actually you're disabled. So go and sit by the toilets.
I mean, you've done it in a nutshell, really.
So they let you book a first class ticket, even though they don't have.
Whenever you book train tickets, it's always a bit of a weird rigmarole, isn't there? Because normally, if as a disabled person you want to catch a train, what you are officially supposed to do in the world of rules is ring up their special booking.
What you're supposed to do is book a taxi.
Well, stay home really. But if you must insist on leaving the house, then you're supposed to ring them up sort of 40 hours in advance and say, I want to get on this train at this time, go from this place, and arrange all of the assistance and the same on the way back. I haven't really bothered doing that for about 4 years because I found that actually the likelihood of the assistance working was the same whether I booked it or not. So actually, why waste time and why restrict yourself to one specific train when actually you may not know what time you exactly want to get on the train, particularly as I was going up to Birmingham for a night out and wasn't sure how capable I was going to be in the morning of, getting up and understanding what time it was and all of that kind of stuff. So I just booked the tickets like normal tickets, and I ended up booking first class on the way out just because actually it was a cheaper option than booking the standard class with Virgin. So I booked first class of the London Midland as opposed to standard class of Virgin, which is what I got on the way back. And I made the booking. I used my disabled adult rail card, so I got my nice little discount on my rail ticket. So I just I went from there. And the thing is, I've travelled by train a lot before, and often if there's another wheelchair user on board in the standard class compartment, then they will put you in the first class carriage because there's nowhere else to put you. So my expectation was very much that it would be a similar thing. When I've travelled with Virgin or Cross Country or First Great Western, they all have disabled accommodation in the first class carriage. So it didn't really cross my mind that this would be an issue with London Midland because I kind of thought, this standards that all train companies have to meet, and this therefore must be one of them. But not so. I got to Euston and to the assistance desk, and they were fine. They came with me to the platform and got the ramp out, and I said, I need to go and sit in the first class carriage because that's what my ticket says. So
better than all these other.
So he took me along to the other end of the train where the first class carriage was, and went, do you think you can fit your chair through there? And I looked, and there was they have these privacy doors to stop the plebs getting in, obviously. Unfortunately, the privacy doors are not very wide. They actually don't open wide enough to accommodate a wheelchair. And I said, well, I'm not really sure. And then he said, well, there's no wheelchair space in the carriage anyway, So we're probably just going to have to go and put you back in standard class. Which was not really, I mean, he was very nice about it, and it wasn't his fault, but at the same time I was kind of like, well, okay, but that's not really what I signed up for here.
Exactly. They don't let me in first class either, you know, sorry.
Exactly. He was like, yeah, I've heard about this happening with London Midland before. He was like, ring them up and they'll give you a refund. And I was like, well, okay, but that's not really the point, you know. It's kind of, why is it the case that it's just
I booked first class. Money doesn't mean a thing to me. I don't need refund.
Exactly, I'm just rolling in it.
I need my first class seat. Not making me feel special, guys.
You know who I am. Yeah, exactly. So, so I ended up in the normal wheelchair accommodation, which, by the way, in London Midland is terrible. It is literally just a space next to the toilet. There was another lady in a wheelchair who was also there, so we were kind of like taking up the whole carriage, and every time someone wanted to go to the toilet, they had to like physically climb over our wheelchairs to get to the door. And then every time the door opened, there was this like big like bang, and it kind of smelled. And then like halfway along the journey, this baby got introduced into the mix, and it was all just like a bit horrendous, to be honest. And I was sitting there thinking of my private compartment and complimentary orange juice, and just weeping.
Terrible.
Yeah, I know. What can you do?
Are they going to sort out a new first class disabled compartment? Do they have any?
Well, that's the hope. I did call them up yesterday, and I sort of said to the guy on the phone, look, why is it the case that you don't offer this for wheelchair users? Why is your policy why does it exclude wheelchair users? He sort of went, I don't really know, because he was the guy who answered the phones. So I'm waiting for a proper response from their policy team.
Waiting for someone to come up with a reason that doesn't sound able.
I'm very interested to see what their justification is for it, because I can't think of what it might be, given that pretty much every other train operator manages to achieve this mind-blowing feat.
Oh, but they do. I see. Because I would have thought it would be down the lines of, well, we live for profit, and generally speaking, people who are disabled aren't the wealthiest in society. So therefore, we're not going to actually cater our highest level of stuff to them. I'd have thought it would have been that.
Well, I think that's often the assumption, but obviously they can't say that in an official policy response, which is what I'm saying. This is why I'm very interested to know what it is, how they're going to try and make this seem acceptable and non-discriminatory.
It's a surprise to me that other trains do offer first-class disabled seats.
Yeah, I mean,
when I was in Birmingham, that's all I was in was first class. Like, that's where they put me by default.
That's because you were going to see Prime Minister or something like that. Even Michaela.
I was in Birmingham. I wasn't
they don't even look at your ticket. They're like, quick, this girl.
Get rid of her quick. But yeah, no, I mean, that was in Birmingham, so I don't know maybe that's a Birmingham thing or not.
But I was going to Birmingham, so I mean,
yeah.
It does depend on the train operator. As I say, like, so it seems the big ones, the ones that go up and down the country, so like cross country, East Coast, I guess, Virgin, First Great Western, some of their trains. So the big chunky trains, those ones do tend to, from my experience, have wheelchair spaces in first class. Well, a wheelchair space in first class. Then perhaps it's more that just the smaller operators don't. But I don't know what the justification would be for that, because I've never seen a first class carriage that's actually been so full that they couldn't fit a wheelchair user in if they just rearranged the seating a little bit. I mean, it was basically empty the whole journey, so it just seems bizarre to me. Even if it's for profit making reasons. I can't see them losing any profit by putting a wheelchair space in there, because it's just not full.
Exactly. Yeah, and I was just going to say to what Michaela said about Birmingham, I was English, any chance to blame Birmingham for for anything. Birmingham's it's Birmingham.
I grew up in Birmingham.
You did?
Yeah, Yeah.
Know this.
You don't know everything
It wasn't Birmingham.
I like Birmingham.
Some town near Birmingham that you know the second line on your address, you use that as the town you come from, not the town underneath. That's what people from Warrington do.
I live one junction down from Birmingham on the M6. That's where I grew up.
I see. That junction.
About 15 minutes.
You know? Sarah, have you had any experiences of trains lately?
Well, we did have this time, because you are beside the toilet, multiple times the toilet doors opened while people were on the toilet, and it's just not
really?
nice.
I remember
When I talk about with my brother and stuff, people talk about bad disability times and experiences and stuff. And actually, like, you actually get to see a lot of interesting stuff that you wouldn't actually see. From a disability standpoint. Was this your time?
Yeah, well, my sister is so afraid of, like, having the door open. She has to sit with her back to the door because it's happened that many times. And I have no choice because I can't travel backwards or I feel nauseous. So I have to sit facing the toilet door if there's someone in the other spot. It's awful.
That's what you tell people. I mean, the truth is that you have a voyeuristic perversion that you don't like to make public.
Depends who goes in. Like,
you booked a specific toilet seat.
On the online booking.
That's my interesting.
Yeah, she's complaining that she was in first class going next to her. You're complaining that you didn't get the toilet seat. I booked that seat. The thing I don't like about Virgin Trains is they don't have a toilet seat next to the toilet.
It's awful.
Trains in Northern Ireland, better or worse than England?
I can't comment.
Look in there like it's like they're both really bad.
I can't comment because I've never been on a train journey in Northern Ireland, so I can't say.
England.
I've been on more trains with you than I have with anybody else, so we can't comment there.
In fact, whilst we're on this, me and Michaela were on a train in London a few weeks ago, where it was on our way to Kensington Gardens, and we didn't relive this story at the time because Michaela's mum was present immediately afterwards, and there was a kind of
yeah, we're not talking about this.
don't tell my mum about this. We were getting, you know what I'm like when I go around. I like London. Come on, I lived on Brick Lane, you know, Zone 1. It's my thing. So I just kind of flit around places right left. Yeah, go here. It's a quick route. Go here. And they'll be like, beep, beep, beep. Don't worry. Let's get on. Get on. The guy, you know. I know.
The two of us are lying through.
What?
The two of us are lying it. Never mind just you.
Yeah, because I'm like, come on, get on the magic carpet, we're going to go wild, all this stuff. So we were at Green Park, changing at Green Park. Oh, the changing at Green Park's not very good unless you know a clever lift. There's a clever lift which shoots you straight through.
No. Yeah, I have to go to the extreme for that lift.
What?
You have to go to the extreme for that lift.
Well, you do have to go to the extreme, but I'm not sure what you meant by that, but yeah.
You remember now?
Basically, we were running to get on this train. Not running. Michaela was freewheeling, but we were going real quick, and you got on. And so the door shut, and the back of your last wheel was coming over the edge, and the door's just shut on you like this, not like that, like that. And I seriously thought it was. You had to.
Those doors are brutal. They don't take any prisoners.
You had that.
I've never had them shut on me, but I've seen them.
I've shut them on many other people.
Oh, yeah. No, I've seen them swallow innocent pushchairs and things before now.
Oh, yeah, and that's the thing. I fight with lift. You can fight with a lift, or you just go, no, you
don't fight the tube.
The tube doors. It's like. I'm not gonna die, and we managed to get a tiny bit of leeway from Michaela just to go. Oh, instead it did open again, and I went out and I went, "What are you doing?" Down at the guy, and I go, "Give it like that," and yeah, he looked like he was about to lose his job. So yeah.
You sometimes get really, really sarcastic drivers though. If someone gets caught in the doors, I've heard it before. So I've been on the tube and the doors have closed and then opened again because someone's been caught in it, and the driver just made some like snarky comment like, "Ladies and gentlemen, please step away from the doors. Stop sticking your limbs out of the train. This is not a roller coaster." This kind of thing.
Yes, yeah.
Let's take a bit of a chill pill here and realise that people are actually getting like stuck, potentially dismembered by these tube doors.
I've seen that before, and I was thinking, but to be honest, in that situation, I think he just thought, I think that was one of the situations where disability works better, because it was like, he was like, "Oh my God, I nearly slid a wheelchair. I'd have got sued," you know, and one of them normal people who can just mow down, you know. I think it was, they definitely saw red tape there, like, oh my word. So, yeah, it was, yeah.
I did nearly get stuck once, but it caused like major panic on the train. So I was getting on the train, and the door started beeping, like, which means that they're going to close. And like about 3 different passengers like leapt out of their seats and were like, "Get on!" And were like pulling my wheelchair on. I'm like, guys, it doesn't work like that. Okay, it's an electric wheelchair. You can't just put it on. But they're like, yeah, they were in this mass state of panic because they thought I was going to get eaten by the tube doors. So yeah, it was quite nice. But they weren't so much. At the same time, completely misguided.
That's it. It's those moments where suddenly everyone comes together and cares about disability. Everyone's around the "Are you okay? It's terrible what just happened to you." You know? It's like,
I just had like this real flashback. Like being little, I was about 5. No, I must have been 7.
Why must you have been 7?
Martina was dead. Martina was already dead. I
never had that finger after I was 8.
So yeah, Mary, my big sister, who is 16 years older than me, just tickets for this Santa thing, where we get on the train in Patrick, I think, because it was a steam train and it was the first time I'd ever been on a train. And we travelled down the track about a mile, and then everyone would stand in the queue for us to Santa, and then we travelled back about a mile. And all I can remember is Mary bringing my manual, so they're like, "Nah, not happening." So Mary had to carry me. Oh my God. But the flashback that I had was of the pain of being straddled on someone's hip for such a long period of time. And I'm like, I swear I can't do this anymore. And just at that point, let me into the Santa. So I did sit in Santa's knee for about 30 seconds, so I came back.
That's not bad.
Trying it all out was they had to be back to Mary, who by this point was like 22, 23, and very possibly heavily pregnant. And they handed me back to her and went, "Hey, go back to Mummy." And I'm like, "Nah, I can't get this wonder belly from hit me." And it's just one of the funniest train journeys I've ever had. But I don't know why, but it's in my mind. I was so young that I shouldn't remember it. But yeah. I didn't let my manual come with me. So I was like, "Nah, no sir, not happening."
The mad life you lead, Michaela, getting straddled on a train. Yeah, think back to what Rosemary, our friend Rosemary Fraser, says about her husband likes going out downtown shopping with her because he says everyone just moves out the way because they see, "Oh, wheelchair," you know, people jump.
Do you remember the dude? Remember the dude that you only walked into me and you were like, "Yo, look, hello." And he was so apologetic afterwards that, and I was like, "This doesn't happen at home." I see that more in London than I nearly do anywhere else. It's quite random.
Mm. Right, well, that's an interesting train episode that we've just done. Zoe, you'll have to let us know on their answer, their response, because that's the thing I don't know if they realise. We're fighting with them. We just want everyone to, you know, we want all train companies and everyone to just lead happy lives, you know.
Acknowledge my superior
lifestyle. I'm expecting they'll send you a free first class pass for life. And
that's the ideal outcome. Well, no, it's not, because I can't get into the first class carriage, so we'll have a fat lot of good.
Call it the Zoe Hallam seat. It'll be etched in some plaque, for your plight on the train from Birmingham that day, that
I
weekend.
think it's the only reasonable response.
I was about to say, like, Rosa Parks, but with Rosa Parks, it was a bus on the train.
You're just the Rosa Parks of disability rights. This is it. And in fact, referencing the disability rights slogan that's gone around the States for a long time, Rosa Parks wanted to sit anywhere on the bus. We just want to get on it. Yeah. Hey,
I know that one.
What? You don't like it?
I love that one. I love it.
No, it's a good one. It's a good one. Do you not think, guys? Zoe? She wanted to sit anywhere. People in wheelchairs just want to get on that bus. You're not sold?
It's clunky.
It's a completely different thing. I just like the superficiality of it. But like, when you dive into it, it's really not suitable, but I like it on the face of it. And on the face of it, I think it does what it needs to. It's just when you start to dissect it, it all falls apart.
Michaela giving it a very political answer there at the end. I can understand that in terms of race relations, it might actually be trivializing Rosa Parks' plight, but actually, the same rate.
I actually think it heightens her point. I think it heightens the fact that she couldn't sit wherever she wanted to on the bus.
Rosa Parks wasn't actually the first.
Yeah, she wasn't. Yeah,
make a stand on that.
She was just the one that.
That's more point, Zoe. We don't care. We're talking disability rights. They got their stuff sorted.
It's about facts, Peter.
I think Zoe's just worried that many years from now, the time she got on that first class train
People won't remember me.
Be forgotten.
There'll be somebody who's more media acceptable who comes along who.
That's the thing, right? It will happen with us. Like, we will get so far, and then it will turn into. There will be so many people that haven't gone to a train or bus or a taxi or whatever, and this one person will make a stand. Yeah. And whatever that one person's name is will be the nearest story throughout history.
Oh.
And that's what will happen.
Oh, Michaela, you sound like you've already thought this through there. Zoe, I think...
Oh, yeah, I've spent a lot of time.
I like it. Oh, this is the beginnings of who gets the name. Sarah, you're gonna have to fight it out with these two.
The first person to get something named after them wins. Okay, go.
That's it. We can all brought it back to this first conversation where we forgot everyone who'd been before us, all the disability rights protests in the 70s and onwards. Wonderful. Well, that's definitely one of my favourite, funniest episodes so far. Thank you, guys. And we'll all be back again soon. And we'll find out the outcome of Zoe's crazy train journey. And we'll see you again soon. Bye, guys. Bye.